Okay, hopefully now we're recording. So we're going to go through section 7.2. At home, the calculators, you really want to have access to either a TI-83 or a TI-84. Some people like the Inspire, and that's fine. I'm going to be focusing on the TI-84 and maybe a little bit of the 83. But I find the TI-84 the easiest to use, and it has, you know, some things that the 83 doesn't have. So anyway, so we're going to talk about how to work with fractions on the calculator today. A lot of times we want to reduce fractions on a calculator, and reducing fractions is actually quite easy. So I want to reduce 76 over 528. So I'm going to share my calculator here. And I'm going to go into, I don't have to do anything, I'm just going to clear all my mess up here. All right, so all you have to do is simply type 76 like that, divided by 528, and press enter. Now what you're going to get is the decimal form of it. It's 0.1439. Okay, so to put it into a reduced fraction, you're going to find your math button right here, M-A-T-H, fourth button down on the left. And number one is fraction. So all you do then, you want fraction. So you just press enter on the calculator. That'll select that. And if you press enter again, hello. There it is, 19 over 132. All right, so that's the reduced form of that fraction. One thing nice about the TI-84, I should mention, if you want the decimal form, just go back to math. Pick number 2, guess what DEC stands for? That's decimal. So I'm going to go down, pick number 2, press enter, and now I'm back to the decimal form. So I can convert back and forth and reduce the lowest terms. I don't have to do that by hand like ever, okay? All right, so with the 84, the 83 and the 84 work the same with this. With the 84, it has a nice button. If you go to alpha F1, the 84, it should have an N over D. All right, if it doesn't, or it doesn't have an N over D, alpha Y equals, you probably don't have the latest operating system, and if you have a smart friend, they can help you update that. I would normally do that, but you know, I'm not there, but if you want to bring your calculator to me, if you don't have this menu, you don't have the latest operating system. And when you're in class, I can update it, I guess. All right, so I'm going to pick number 1 there, just to show you what this does. I'm going to press enter. Sorry, wrong thing, enter. So what it does is it gives me that fraction bar so I can see what I'm typing. So I can just type 76 and go down here. I'm going to arrow down, and then I'm going to press 528. I'm going to press enter and see what happens. All right, and then it gave me the reduced fraction. So the TI-84 also has the ability to reduce a fraction straight up by going into the alpha button, the green button, and then the Y equals button, right? And you want to pick number 1, N over D, that's selected, and you can just enter your fraction. All right, so the TI-84 has a really nice feature there that the 83 does not have. All right, so if we wanted to do 256 over 794, go ahead and do that. You can pause, or maybe I'll wait a second for you to do it. Do it. Let's make sure that you can do it, and I'm going to do it too. I'll do it 2 ways. First, I'll do it by the alpha F1 stuff. So 256 over 794. And enter, and that's the fraction again. 128 over 397 is the reduced form. Now, if I didn't have a TI-84, I just do 256 divided by 794. Press enter, and I get a decimal, and then we hit math. Enter, math fraction, enter, okay? So there we have it. That's how I reduce a fraction using the TI-84 or 83 calculator. All right, now if you have an 84, these are not on the 83s, there's 4 hidden shortcut menus. So let me kind of show you where that is. So there's just, these are just other alternative ways to get the thing. One of them, we just looked at it. If you hit alpha and then Y equals, this is, you'll see there's 4 menus. So the first one says fraction. These are all your fraction operations. This one, number 2, just to tell you, you probably never need it. It gives you a mixed number. This converts an improper fraction to a mixed number, and this converts a fraction to a decimal. So, you know, you're not really interested in all that, but it's there if you want it. All right, so if I go over, let's just go over and see what all these menus are. So function, There's some hidden stuff here. This number 1 you might be interested in. It takes the absolute value of something. You're not going to really need 2 through 4. Log base later on the course. This is a shortcut to get to log. 6 is the xth root, like if I want to take the cube root. NPR and NCR you might be interested in, I'm not sure. And factorial is number 9. So there's just some functions there. Some of them you'll use, some of them you won't, none of them right now. All right, so if you go over to the other menu here, it's matrices. You can create matrices. You know, I could click, I want a 2 by 2 matrix. You don't even know what those are yet, but you know, there's a way to do it there. And Y variables, this is your graphing menu. So if I pick Y1, then that's the same as going into Y equals, oops, get out of there, second quit. All right, Y equals, and that's the same as this Y1 here, but we don't need to worry about that. All right, that hidden menu, it's only on an 84, it's not on an 83, so it really honestly doesn't do anything. All right, so we talked about how to, let's show you the hidden menu, I guess. That's what she's trying to do here. All right, so, there's actually lots of places. All right, so I showed you the one with the hidden menu, N over D. That's only on an 84. There's also another place to convert fractions. Let me get out of this second quit. This is what we call the home screen. So the other place I can find it, like I did math 1, and now we can go over to num D there. So what I'm going to do is do, just enter a decimal, 0.25. I want to convert that to a fraction. So I go to do the other option. I go to math. I go over to num. And let's see if I can find N over D. There it is. All right. So again, these are the same things in that hidden menu. This converts something to a mixed number. I don't want that. Fraction to a decimal. Mixed number. I want N over D. All right. Oh, no, that's not what I want. Okay. So, sorry. Do the N over D first. So math. So we're going to go down here to N over D. I can enter my fraction. So I'll enter a fraction. Let's enter like 2/8, right? I know that should reduce to a quarter. There it is. So you can do it that way too. I should show you this. You really don't need it because it's all in math. But go to math, num, over num. All right, this conversion button here, fraction to decimal, decimal to fraction, you can pick that. Enter. So it puts it to a decimal. I press enter again, and a fraction, it converts it back and forth. Okay, so lots of ways to get fractions. I personally, my favorite in 83 and 84 is just math frac. You know, it will reduce the fraction automatically for you. Okay. All right, so play with the calculators. Make sure you feel comfortable with them. I mean, you think you feel comfortable, but then sometimes people really struggle with, you know, how do I do this operation, right, on a calculator? Because sometimes you have to remember that the TI-83s and 84s follow the order of operations. So, you know, if you type something, they're going to do, you know, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. They're going to do things in that order. All right, so to multiply fractions, there's a couple ways to do it. So she has 2/5 times 1/4. I'll go ahead and do that the old-fashioned way, and then we'll show you the 84. Excuse me. The one thing you want to be careful with when you're working with fractions is, see how she's put parentheses around these things. You want to put parentheses around them so that, you know, unless you're really comfortable with the order of operations. So, so if you have an 83, this is what I'm going to enter. So here's my parentheses. So I'm going to do 2 divided by 5 for 2/5, parenthesis, times. Parenthesis 1 divided by 4. And I'm going to enter that, and I should get 0.1, which I do. If I want a fraction, all I have to do is hit math, franc. All right. Now, if you have an 84, you can go, you don't have to use parentheses as much. Do alpha, y equals, and I can pick a fraction. So I'll do 2/5. See, I can just enter 2/5 straight up. 2/5 times I'll go back to alpha y equals n over d, 1/4, and press enter, and there's my fractional answer. All right, so I don't care how you can do it, just make sure you can multiply fractions. All right, you do want to make sure that you put parentheses around your fractions. All right. Oh, I think here she's talking about, yeah, how to do it. All right, so then here's the, in the notes, there's the same thing I just did. All right. Okay, and she does the math. You can access as long as you get to n over d. Again, you can get that from num letter d, or you can get it from alpha f1. Okay. All right, and you can, oh wow, there's an unbounded frac. Didn't even know that. All right, let's take a look at it. If you have an 84, you go to math. Oh yes, there is. See, there's a fraction menu, and I can access it right there. All right, so again, I just do the same thing. 2/5 times. I go back to math, back to frac, 1/4. All right, so again, lots and press center. Lots of ways to do this, you know, as long as you're comfortable. The thing that hopefully she'll warn you about, or I will warn you about, okay, so they're not, let me talk to you about a few things more with the calculator. When you're dividing fractions, if you have an 83, let's do 2/5 divided by 1/4 now. If you have an 83, you want to put parentheses around those fractions. Otherwise, your answer will not be correct. So put parentheses around both sets of fractions like that. Okay. And I could write it as a fraction and hit math frac. All right, so try that. Make sure you get 8/5. All right, now the other thing you can do is on the 84, right? Go to your I don't care where you get it, math. Let's go to frac, over D. So I'm going to type 2/5. Again, it saves me the parentheses with 84. Rather than a multiply symbol, I'm going to put a divide, right? And we're going to put the other fraction. So hit math, or fraction A over D, divided by 1/4. And hopefully I will get the same answer. Okay, so make sure that you can do that and you get 8/5. All right, make sure you divide those two fractions. So let's try one on our own. In fact, for your attendance this week, no, let's not do that. Well, sure, for your attendance, I want you, well, let's figure that out later. I'll post in the bottom of the video. All right, so let's just try one. Let's try 3/4 divided by 1/2. All right, so take a second and in your calculator do 3/4 divided by 1/2. And I'll give you not too long to do it, about a minute, less than a minute. 3/4 divided by 1/2. All right, that should be enough time. So let's do it. I'll do this the old-fashioned way, I guess, with the TI-83. Just so that we have both of them in there. So we're going to go do, where's my mouse? There it is. Let's do 3/4. So I'll do parentheses, 3/4 divided by 1/2. Okay, and if I want the fraction form of it, math frac. Okay. All right, so working with the fraction, the calculator is easy. You can add fractions. Let's say I want to do 1/2 plus 1/3. On a TI-83, I do 1/2. What are we doing? Plus 1/3? Sure. Plus parentheses 1/3. Enter. And let's get that in the fractional form. So math frac. And I get 5/6. If you want to do the 84, get your n over d. 1/2 plus, oh, of course, this menu, so I like it, whatever. 1 over 3 down. All right, and I get 5, 6. All right, so make sure that you can add. Now, obviously, to subtract, I guess I should talk to you about the subtraction buttons. If I want to do 1/2 minus 1/3, I'll just type it this time. So if I do 1/2, we'll do it the old-fashioned way. 1/2 minus. Now, there's 2 minuses. Make sure you understand that the negative on the right-hand side right here, that is subtraction. The negative on the bottom means a negative number. Okay, the 2 things mean something totally different, because this is what we use to multiply by -1, and the other one is what we use to add. So we're going to pick that big negative. And just so you can see the difference, if I pick the little negative down here, so it's small. Okay, so to subtract, I want the big negative. So it's 1/2 minus 1/3. And I'm going to get a decimal, and I can just hit math, frac, enter, math, enter. All right, and so there's your fractional answer is 1/6. So make sure you can do 1/2 minus 1/3 and get 1/6. So we've talked about adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing fractions. All right, how to reduce them, work with decimals, okay? So you're going to get some practice with that in your homework, okay? So that's the part for the algebra today. Now we're going to take our packet and we're going to do some help for 1324. All right, so we are gonna, I'm gonna close that out for right now. And I'm gonna go upstairs in my packet. And I'm gonna go in the packet to page 6. Sorry, until I find a faster way to do this. I'm scrolling. All right, so it looks like I went too far. Or did I? Yeah, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so it looks like we're going to talk about Venn diagrams just a little bit to get you guys comfortable with Venn diagrams. A Venn diagram represents, 2 sets, and where they overlap are the elements the sets have in common. That's what we call an intersection. If I take both sets together, that's a union. So the universal set is the set of everything I'm considering. So if I'm considering even numbers from 2 to 10, that would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's my universal set. So it's whatever I'm considering. And circles should overlap. Sometimes they won't if they don't have anything in common, but most of the time they will. Okay, so we use 2 circle and 3 circle diagrams in 1324. All right, so let's talk about how to say what each of these represents, all right? I am not going to start with region 1. I am going to start with region 3. Region 3 is the overlap of A and B, so that's what we call an intersection. So an intersection is written, here we go, trying to write. Intersection. Whenever you see an intersection, it's going to be like that, all right? And the way that I remember it, it looks like the word and. I can fill that in and make it an and. It's what's common to both A and B, all right? It's what's in A and B. So region 3 is the overlap. That's what's in common. So region 3 would be the intersect. So it's A and B. Okay. Now, region 1, sure, why not? Okay, so region 1, there's a couple ways to say that. This is only A, but not B, because see, B is, it can't include region 3, so I have to exclude B. So what I'm saying is it's in region A, and I'm going to write this in set notation in a minute, A and not B. So how do we say that? Your teacher, for not, the word not, they will either use a line or a prime symbol. I'm not sure what they use, so they will surely tell you. So this means complement, not, okay? And I'm using the word and, so it's an intersect. So it's A and not B. So B with a thing on it, all right, or line over it. So that's how I say that. All right, so region 2, if I look at region 2 here in the graph, hello, think for a minute how you would say region 2. I'll give you a second to think about it. And so you see that this is not all of B, right? It's all of B, but excluding this. So it can be an only in B, which means B and not A, right? So it's in B and not in A. So that would be B and not A. Okay, so region 4. Now, region 4 is everything that's not in A and not in B, right? Now, there's several ways to say that. Okay, so I could say it's not in A and it's not in B. Another way to say that, it's the opposite of taking A and B together. It's everything that's not in either A or B. All right, so when you find yourself using the word or, it's what they call a union. Meaning you take all of A and B together. So if I have A union B, they're getting married and they're coming together and they're forming a union. So if I can look at this, is another way to look at this is everything that's not in the union of A and B. So A union B, we write a union with a U. A union B. That would be all of A or B, but it's everything outside of that, so it's not. All right, so union's written with a U. It's A or B not. Either way to write that is going to be okay. Take A or B and then take the opposite, okay? All right, so that's our first introduction to Venn diagrams. All right, now when you have 3 circles, okay? Now each circle represents a certain thing. So this skill, like this circle right here would be the people who could perform the skill. And this circle is those who can explain it. So in fact, what I usually do is put letters here. So this is perform, this is explain. Just label the circles. Probably should label on the outside, but I can apply. Apply, okay? So basically all I have to do is, so region 1, you'll notice that that's only perform, right? That's all it is. So that means I can perform the skill, but I can't explain it and I can't apply it. All right, so region 1 is only perform. So I can perform it, but not explain or apply. Okay, region 2. So region 2, if I look at that, let's see, that's the overlap, right, between P and E, but it doesn't have apply. So I can perform it and I can explain it, but I can't apply it. All right, so this region would be I can perform it, sorry about that, perform it, explain, but not apply it. All right. So region 3, let's take a look at region 3. Erase this. So region 3 is the situation where it excludes the other two circles. So it means I can explain it. But I can't perform it and I can't apply it. So region 3 is just this region right here, right? And it just means I can only explain it. I can't perform it and I can't apply it. So let's say it this way. Let's do some text. Only explain it. Can't perform it, can't apply it. All right. Let's see, region 4. Okay, so region 4 is the overlap of P and A and not E. So that means I can perform it or apply it and I can't explain it. Okay. So let's take this. Okay, that's region 4. All right, region 5. Region 5 is a good region. That's the overlap of all three circles. So what that means is all three things are true. So that means I can perform it, I can explain it, and I can apply it. So region 5 is I can perform, explain, and apply it. All right, region 6. You see that there's only two circles that are overlapping here, right? Which one is out? Which one is out? So if I look at region 6, it's just right here. It's the overlap of E and A. This is circle A, but not P. So that means I can explain it and apply it, but I can't perform it. Okay, explain, apply, but not perform. Explain and apply it. All right, so region 7 is, that's this part down here. So that makes me think that that is only circle A. So circle A was apply. So that is, I can only apply it. I can't perform or explain it. All right, last one, region 8. So region 8, oh, is the one outside, right? See this 8 out here? So 8 can do none of those things. So 8 cannot explain, he can't perform, and he can't apply. So those are those that I can't explain it, apply it, or perform it. None. Okay? So it's just a matter of deciding where that overlap is and what we're talking about, what each one means. Okay? Part of it wants to write this with set notation. Well, no, we'll just leave it in words. All right. All right, consider the following Venn diagram, which compares high school and college math classes, okay? So what you're seeing is you have some high school math and college math, and you have some overlap, right? Some kids take calculus in high school, and some take it in college. So there's some that give you college credit, right? So it says, fill in the Venn diagram by writing the letter of each of the following statements in the appropriate section. Since there is more than one correct way of completing the diagram, give a reason for the placement for each statement. All right, so if we were in class, I'd normally ask you, but I'll kind of throw, homework must be done regularly in order for you to be successful. Is that true in only high school, only college, or both? And that's subject to opinion, but I'm of the feeling that homework's important, so we're not putting both. So I'm thinking A needs to go here. And if you want, you could work this through on your own, pause the video at this point and do the rest of it and check your answers with mine. All right, so if you're so motivated, go ahead and pause the video right here. All right, if you pause the video, let's see. So we got A. All right, so we're going to go through this list. B, if you miss class, it is the teacher's responsibility to make sure you complete the work eventually. Okay, what do you think? I was a high school teacher for 18 years, and honestly, it was my responsibility whether I liked it or not. College, not my responsibility. All right, that is your responsibility. So, for my opinion, the B is going to go over here. And this is a little opinionated, but you know, that's just my opinion being a former high school teacher. All right, part C. If you miss an exam for any reason, you can take it later. Now, in high school, that's generally true. I don't care, you miss class, but in college, no, for any reason. You really can't miss an exam because you just didn't feel like coming to class that day. So I'm going to put that under high school because I don't think you can miss an exam for any reason. All right, if you receive it, okay, let's go to D. If you receive a D, you can still go on to the next class. In high school, that's definitely true. In college, is that true? I honestly don't know. Usually, if it's related to your major, you cannot. So I'm thinking this is going to go to high school only. I'm not sure because I don't know what Lynn's policies are, but most of the time, I know when I was in college, if you got a D, that wasn't considered passing because especially if it was in your major. So not sure. All right, E. Grades are based on the mastery of content more than on effort. Absolutely for college, you know, there's a mastery grade. I mean, there's quizzes and tests, but I mean, I don't know, high school. These are difficult questions because, you know, high school, depending on what class you took, you know, the pre-APs were based on mastery, but some of the regulars were not. So, but I'm going to put this. I'm going to put it under both. This is my opinion. All right, that you need some kind of mastery in both high school and college, although less so in high school, honestly. All right, let's look at F. You're responsible for knowing school policies, important dates in the registration process. What do you think? Definitely college. I'm not so sure about high school. They don't hold the kids as accountable for that stuff, but so I'm going to put it under college. This is my opinion. This is a weird Venn diagram. It's all opinion. But for high school, for sure. I mean, for college, for sure. All right, G, you're expected to study 2 hours outside of class for every 1 hour in class. That's going to be true for college, not high school. You know, sometimes they'll say an hour in for an hour out, but they don't really believe that. So, attendance is expected, but may not be required. Well, that's a hard one these days, isn't it? Attendance is expected, so but may not be required. We're going to put that under high school. I know there's a thing these days with the COVID, but still, nonetheless, you know, you have to come, you have to apply yourself, even if the class is online. So attendance isn't so, a little more liberal in high school than there in college. Again, these are all opinions, and yours may be different, mine, that's fine. Okay. What does it mean if a statement is in the space where the two circles overlap? Well, that's true for both of them, right? So in high school, homework must be done regularly in order for you to be successful, and in college, that's true also. So it's true to both high school and college. So true. High school and college. All right, what does it mean if a statement is outside both circles? So I didn't have anything outside both circles, so let's say I thought, I don't know, if basically if I have something that's outside of both circles, it means that neither one is expecting me to do that. So the intent is expected but may not be required. We'll put that one outside because this may not be true for either one of them. So if you want, you do have to attend high school. Let's pretend H is out here, all right? So if H is out here, then attendance is expected but not required. It's not true of high school or college. So if it's outside the circles, it's not true of either. Not true of either. Okay. All right, so the way that I think a lot about unions and intersections is the word and or. And or just define intersection union. Okay, so the word and, it's meant to mean intersection. If you think about a roadway, when two roads cross, where the roads cross is what they have in common. It's called an intersection, all right? So an intersection is what groups have in common, all right? It's the elements they have in common. An intersection in set notation is written like this with an upside down U. And the way that I remember this is I can write the word and out of it, okay? So the other option is a union. When you get married, two people form a union. They come together. The two shall become one. Everything comes together and forms a union. That is what we call the word or, all right? So just with a Venn diagram, I guess I'm going to draw this real quick. Or maybe they're going to put this, no, they're not, okay. So if I want to draw an intersection is the region between the two circles, so that's an intersection, all right? A union is taking everything together. So I take all of A and all of B and I bring it together, and all of this is what we call a union. So a little U type set thing, and this means union, okay? Since I can't make an or out of it, and I can certainly make an or out of it, okay? So union, or, intersection, and. All right, so remember those words. Okay, so here's a Venn diagram that we need to fill out. This is something you're going to have to do in 1324. Actually, they filled it out for us, so we're going to have to answer the questions, all right? So you have to be really, really careful with the word, okay? So it says, how many like tea? And if you don't think carefully, you're going to say 20, but that's not right, okay? It doesn't say only tea. It says tea. So anybody likes tea, we count. So we count the 20 in the one circle plus the 10 in the other, so that's going to be 30, okay? So think for a minute, how many like coffee? Okay, and I get 50 because I added 40 and 10 to get coffee. That's my coffee drinkers. All right, yeah. All right, how many like tea and coffee? So tea and coffee, there's that word and, so that means what's in both of them. So the intersection is the middle portion of that circle. So the ones that like tea or coffee, tea and coffee would be 10. Okay. All right, next one. How many like tea or coffee? So there's that word or, which really means union. So I'm just going to add up all my tea and coffee drinkers. All right, so it looks like I got 20 tea drinkers, 10 that drink both, and 40 coffee. So if I add those up, 40, 50, 60, 70, so I get 70 that like coffee or tea. How many like tea but not coffee? Now this is more specific, so we can only like tea. So the ones that only like tea and not coffee, well, that's 20 of them. All right, next question. How many did not like tea or coffee? So the ones that didn't like tea or coffee are the ones on the outside of the circle. So that would be down here. This would be 30 of those guys. Okay. All right, so now we've answered a Venn diagram question. All right. Now they get a little complicated with 3 more circles. You just have to think a little bit more. All right. So a survey of students reveal the types of fruit they normally ate. Students who ate kiwis, apple, and grapes are organized on the Venn diagram. Identify which sections of the Venn diagram represent each of the following. Okay, so ones that eat apples, it doesn't say only apples, so it's all the ones that have apples. So that's your first circle here. So it's A, B, D. I'm just going to write this down. That's me. A, B, D, E. Okay. So eat apples and grapes. So here's the apple circle and the grape circle. All right. Let's see. Do I have a highlighter? One thing you can do if you like highlighters. Let's see if I have a highlighter. Maybe not. Let's draw. Well, can't do it. All right. The overlap. Let's see. I'm not sure I can. I was going to do two highlighters. If you do like a red a yellow highlighter and a pink highlighter, what you're going to see is you color those circles and you're going to get overlap, and it's going to be orange. And but the apples and grapes are the overlap between apples. This circle, whoops, this circle, and grapes would be this circle. So the overlap is BE. All right, let me erase. All right, apples or grapes. Now that's going to be a union, right? So we're going to take every letter that's in the A or the G circle. You know, repeat letters. So every letter that's in either A or G. So that in the apple circle is A, B, D, E, and the grape circle B and E I already have, so I need to add to it C and F. Okay. All right, those that eat only grapes, that means grapes and nothing else, so that's little old C out here. Eat apples, grapes, and kiwi. So that would be the overlap of all three of those, so that's your middle overlap right here. Should that be? All right, eat exactly 2 of these fruits. So 2 is where 2 circles overlap. So this tells me I'm excluding E because E is 3. E is all 3. I'm just going to put a cross there so I remember not to do that. All right, so the ones that share 2 would be the guys in the middle here, right? So that's B, D, and F. And only one of the fruits would be the guys on the outside, so that's A, C, G. The other guy, no overlap. All right, now comes a tricky one. All right, they eat apples and grapes. So apples and grapes would be B or E, right? That's your overlap right in here, but not kiwi. So that means I'm excluding kiwi. So apples and grapes and not kiwi is this letter right here. B. Okay, apples and grapes, I'm just going to circle these, will be these 2 right here, but not kiwi. So if not kiwi, we're getting rid of this right here. Just B. All right. Let's see. And this is really just an English problem more than anything. It's not with math. All right, so eat grapes, but not apples. All right, so I'm going to go here. They eat grapes. That would be all of these guys. Grapes. But not apples, so they can't eat apples. So that means that I'm going to go back and I'm going to get rid of the ones in the apple circle. So that's going to be C and F. Oh. Yes, okay. And the ones that eat none of those fruits, that's the guy on the absolute outside of the circle, so that would be it. All right, so there's my page. All right, so that's a 3-year Venn diagram, just a little more complicated. All right, So I am finished section 7.2 lecture. So, you know, what I would suggest is go in and you can start your homework on 7.2. You can do the supplemental material. And I will come back and tell you what we're going to do for attendance once I make that decision. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me, you know, meet with me in office hours, okay? So this is the stuff you're going to be doing in 1324. For the purposes of 324, you should be able to add, multiply, divide, and subtract fractions on a calculator. All right, well, that's it for today, and thanks. Bye.